Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to be going over why doing less will make you more money using the deep prioritization framework. So many people fall prey to the paradox of doing too much. Most people who struggle to grow a business aren't doing too little. They're doing too much of the wrong things. At any given moment in a business, there are dozens of activities you should be doing. Running ads, building funnels, posting on social media, sending outreach, writing emails, and the list goes on. If you tried to do all of them every day, you wouldn't have a business. You'd have a schedule that produces nothing meaningful. The counterintuitive truth is that the path to making more money is almost always doing fewer things, not more. Specifically, identifying the one activity that drives everything else and protecting it above all else. This doc is about how to find that activity and what to do once you've found it. Now, this video is part of an ongoing series where I'm documenting my cold email campaigns and agency building in real time. If you're new here, my name is Dominic Schwantes. I'm the founder of Workflows, a B2B AI lead generation agency. I document everything I do in real time, the campaigns, the systems, and the results. What you'll find in this document is based on what actually works, and it's not just some theory. So, deep prioritization is the practice of identifying a single activity that, if done consistently, makes everything else fall into place. Not the most urgent thing on your list, or not the most interesting thing. The one thing that actually drives revenue and growth more than anything else. The challenge is that this activity is rarely the most exciting thing on your plate. It's the thing you've been doing for a while that works and that you keep getting tempted to replace with something newer and shinier. For a business focused on outreach and client acquisition, that activity is almost always sending outreach messages. Dream 100, cold email, and LinkedIn. Whatever that specific mechanism is, the act of consistently putting your offer in front of new people is the spearhead that drives everything else. Every client, every case study, and every dollar of revenue traces back to it. Your spearhead is not the most interesting thing in your business. It's the most important one. The two are rarely the same. Finding your spearhead. Your spearhead is the activity in your business that drives a quantifiable result. It actually has to move something. Whether that's get you more calls booked, more clients signed, and more revenue generated. If you can't measure the output, it's not the spearhead. Number two is something that's already working. Not something you're hoping will work. Something that has demonstrably produced results when you've done it consistently. And the last one is that it feeds other activities. The spearhead has a multiplier effect. When it works, it creates the conditions for everything else to work too. For most agency owners at the early stages of building a business, the spearhead is outreach. Cold email or Dream 100 research is the activity that books calls, calls produce clients, clients produce revenue, revenue produces case studies, and case studies make future outreach more effective. Everything downstream flows from the outreach. You don't find your spearhead by thinking about it. You find it by observing what actually produces results when you do it consistently. If you do outreach every day for 2 weeks and calls get booked, that's your spearhead. Don't overthink this. Now, a common mistake is waiting until the spearhead is perfect before committing to it. It doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to get done. The outreach doesn't need to be the best copy ever written, it just needs to go out every day. Refinement happens through repetition, not through preparation. Another mistake is trying to run 2 spearheads at once. You can't. 2 priorities is no priorities. The whole concept of a spearhead is that it goes first, alone, before everything else gets attention. If you have 2 things competing for the top position, neither gets the focus required to produce the results at the level you need. Once your spearhead is identified, the question changes from what should I be doing now to how do I do this better and more consistently. That's a much more productive question, and it's the one that actually moves the needle. So here are 3 things that destroy businesses. The first is shiny object syndrome. This is the single most common reason people fail to build momentum. Something new appears, it looks interesting, it promises a shortcut or a new angle, and you swap it in as the priority. You drop the thing that was working and start building something unproven. The new thing isn't tested, it doesn't have momentum behind it. You're not proficient in it yet, but you've abandoned something that works in favor of something that might work, and you've reset your progress. The antidote is simple but difficult. When something new appears, add it to the list of things to explore later. It goes behind the spearhead, it never goes in front of it. Item number 2 is not knowing how to prioritize. Prioritization literally means putting something first. It also means putting everything else not first. Most people treat their task list as a collection of equally important items and try to work through as many of them as possible each day. That's not prioritization, that's busyness. Real prioritization means the spearhead gets done before anything else happens, every day with no exceptions. New projects, new ideas, and new obligations all get addressed after the spearhead is complete. If the spearhead doesn't get done, nothing else matters. And the third item is inconsistency. The most common pattern in failing businesses is sporadic effort. A common schedule looks like 3 days of intense activity, then a week of distraction, then a burst of motivation, and then another gap. The spearhead only compounds when done consistently over a long period of time. A week of consistent outreach produces more than 3 weeks of inconsistent outreach because momentum is real and it takes time to build. These 3 things, shiny objects, poor prioritization, and inconsistency, are responsible for almost every stalled business. Fix all 3 and the business almost runs itself. Not all activities in your business produce the same return per unit of effort. Some activities take significant mental effort but drive enormous results. Others are easy to do and feel productive but produce almost nothing measurable. The temptation is always to gravitate towards the easy activities. Answering emails feels productive. Tweaking your website feels productive. Organizing your CRM feels productive. These things need to get done eventually, but none of them drive new revenue. They're maintenance activities masquerading as growth activities. The spearhead is almost always the high effort, high return activity. It takes genuine mental energy to do outreach, to get on sales calls, and to build deliverables for Dream 100 prospects. It's harder than reorganizing a spreadsheet, but the ratio of result to effort is incomparably better. If an activity takes 10 times the mental energy of an easy task but produces 50 times the result, the maths is obvious. You should be doing more of the hard thing, not less. The discomfort of doing the spearhead is not a signal to stop. It's a signal you're doing the right thing. This reframe changes how you think about productive days. A day where you sent 30 outreach messages and felt mentally drained at the end is a better day than one where you ticked off 20 easy items and felt satisfied. Results are the measure, not how comfortable the work felt. The activities that feel the hardest are usually the ones that matter the most. Discomfort and productivity are often the same thing. Activity over learning. There is a specific trap that catches almost every beginner out: consuming information instead of taking action. Don't get me wrong, learning feels productive. It spikes dopamine, it gives you the sense you're making progress, but information without action produces nothing. You could spend 1,000 hours consuming content about cold email and make less progress than someone who spends 100 hours learning and 100 hours actually doing outreach. At a certain point, more learning is just a delay tactic. It's procrastination dressed up as productivity. The test is simple. When was the last time you did the activity instead of learning about the activity? If the answer is more than a day or two ago, you're in learning mode when you should be in action mode. Almost everything you genuinely need to know will be learned faster by doing the thing rather than by studying it. The nuance that actually matters only reveals itself through practice. Reading about how to handle objections on a sales call is not the same as handling them. Studying cold email frameworks is not the same as running a campaign and seeing what actually gets replies. There's a specific version of this trap that's become more common recently: learning how to use new AI tools instead of using them to do the actual work. The tool is not the point, the output is the point. Spending 3 hours learning a new AI workflow when you could spend 30 minutes using a simpler one to get the work done is still choosing learning over activity. The goal is outreach sent, calls booked, and clients signed, not mastery of every tool. If you've been in the business for more than a few weeks and you still haven't sent your first 100 outreach messages, you're in learning mode. The knowledge you need to send outreach exists. You already have it, or you can figure it out in a day. What's missing is action, not information. The point at which learning becomes genuinely useful again is when you've hit a specific concrete wall in the activity itself. You're doing outreach but no one is replying. You're getting calls but not closing. Those are real problems that targeted learning can solve. That's the right time to go looking for answers, but not before you've started. Learning is necessary, it's not sufficient. The business is built through activity, not through preparation for activity. So how to apply this in practice? Step 1 is identify your spearhead. What activity has produced results when you've done it consistently? For most people watching this, the answer is outreach. If you're not sure, then start there. Step 2 is to protect your spearhead above everything else. Nothing happens until the spearhead is done. Every day starts with the spearhead. If you have a busy week, a difficult week, or a week where everything feels like it's on fire, the only thing that must get done is the spearhead. Everything else can wait. Step 3 is to build that list of everything else. All the other projects, ideas, tools, and opportunities go on a list. They're not forgotten about, they're scheduled behind the spearhead. When the spearhead is done and you have time remaining, that's when you work through the list. Step 4 is to do more of it and then get better at it. Once you've identified what's working, the move is not to find something new. The move is to do more of it and get better at it. The ceiling is much higher than you think. You can build a very profitable business doing one thing extremely well for years before you've genuinely exhausted its potential. The sequence is more, then better, then new, in that order. Most people skip to new before they've done enough of the first two to warrant it. Step 5 is to resist the new. Every new tool, tactic, or platform should be evaluated against one question. Will this make my spearhead more effective? If yes, consider it. If no, add it to the list and move on. So there's a really key mindset shift I want to emphasize. Most people approach their business by asking what should they add, what new strategy, what new tool, and what new platform they should use. The question that actually produces results is what to remove. What can you stop doing so that you can do the one important thing with more focus and more consistency? This is a harder question to sit with because removing things feels like giving up. It feels like admitting that you can't do everything, but that's exactly the point. You can't do everything and do any of it well enough to matter. Every hour you spend on a secondary activity is an hour not spent on the spearhead. And the spearhead is what pays you. The businesses that grow the fastest are almost always the ones doing the fewest things. One traffic channel working consistently beats 3 channels half managed. One offer sold repeatedly beats 5 offers tested occasionally. One niche owned deeply beats 10 niches skimmed superficially. This doesn't mean you never expand. It means you earn the right to expand by fully extracting the value from what's already working. When you've genuinely taken the spearhead as far as it can go, that's when you add the next thing, not before. A business built on one activity done relentlessly well will outperform a business built on 10 activities done inconsistently every time. The maths is simple. The discipline required to act on it is not. Identify one thing, protect it, and do it every day. Everything else is noise until you've genuinely maxed it out. So that's all I have for you today. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.